Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak out truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and joining me today, he just tossed me a shilling to buy a Christmas goose for his overworked and underpaid best employee. It's Ebenezer Housman!
I'm so glad you brought that up. I haven't watched Scrooged yet this year.
Scrooge is the best Christmas Carol.
I think maybe tonight. You know what?
Is that the best one?
We watched the best Christmas movie I've seen in a really long time over the weekend. You want to know what it was?
Which one?
It's called Klaus. Have you seen or heard anything about this?
Yeah.
It's animated. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
That's
pretty
new.
good.
That's new, right?
I knew-ish.
Within
the last
I thought it came out like this.
years.
Oh, I thought it came out like this year. I thought it like just came out. The origin story of Santa, yeah?
Yeah.
Fucking great idea. What a
Right?
great idea. I've never, ever heard of that. Maybe that's maybe that's a common thing in Christmas movies. I don't think it is.
Yeah, come on. The stop motion animated Santa Claus is coming to town.
Like Kris
That's sort of his
Kringle?
origin story.
Is that his origin story? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I never, honestly, those like claymation, whatever the fuck those were, scared the living hell out of me as a kid. So I've never really watched any of
They
those.
are kind of creepy.
I tried to put one on for my daughters the other day and they lasted like 10 seconds. Like, get
Yeah,
this
the
out of
Bumble,
here.
man. The Bumble and Rudolph is kind of scary. So we're recording this on Monday, December 18th. I think this is this might be the last time we do a show together in 2023. A few more episodes that come out before we hit January, but I think this is the last one where it's just the two of us. But it's a Monday, which means the weekend just ended. And that means it's time for a modified version of America's favorite podcast segment. It's What Did Justin Do this past weekend? Presented by Long Weekend Coffee. So, Justin, what'd you do this past weekend?
You know what I did is I did some fun things.
Nice. What is Justin doing this weekend? Sorry,
I was going to tell you for real. I had to think about it because my brain is mush. I did some fun adventure biking. I got caught poaching a trail by a fellow someone I know, which was awesome.
Oh.
She rides bikes, but is also like a absurdly like gnarly trail runner kind of person. Mm-hmm. And yesterday it was like pissing rain. And I'm like, no one's going to be out on this trail. No one hikes the trail anyway, let alone when it's raining. I'll be fine. And like, I kind of took a little break to like take pictures of the bike and here she comes. I'm like, oh my God, there's someone coming. Fuck. And then I realized this is Lindsay. And I know Lindsay. I'm like, hey, she gives me this look like, you're not supposed to be up here. How's it going? And then just like goes past me.
Oh, she was running.
Yeah, she was running.
Were you on your Doggler?
No, I was on that new Kona I wanted to try out one. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but it was like raining and muddy. And I'm like, I want the adventure bike. Part of it is I legitimately don't like getting like wet grime in my suspension parts on my other bikes. But like I have like an Old Man Mountain rack that I wanted to test out and an Old Man Mountain like waterproof bag I wanted to test out. I want to see what it would do like, bouncing down like a single track. And it actually was great. Worked really good. So I did a little testing there. I surfed on Saturday. Holy smokes, I had a very outdoorsy weekend.
Yeah, you did.
Great. Yeah.
How are the waves?
Not great. It's hard. There's like little waves you can surf in Marin, but they're never really that good. Or they kind of can be, but it's like pretty difficult to like time it right. Mm-hmm. And I went to this spot called Stinson Beach, which I've never purposely gone to surf before. It's usually just it's like a giant crescent of beach, and it's always just closeouts.
It's notoriously sharky too, isn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess there was like an attack there in the 90s. I thought that too, but
so
if you actually do the research, yeah. And it seems like there would be because there's a huge lagoon next to it, which just pours out like silty water. So it seems like there should be sharks. But I was like, oh, I'll go surf. This part of Stinson looks like there's waves on the surf cam like thing, which is new to this part of Stinson. They didn't used to have two cams, now they do. And I'm like, the north side. I guess I've been to the north. Yeah, I've been to the north side. I'll go surf that. And so I like went to Bolinas and then paddled across this little channel to get over to the other side of Stinson. And for reasons that are not worth getting into, like I couldn't quite access the waves from there on this little sand spit. I'm like, oh, I'll just walk through this neighborhood. Surely this neighborhood isn't very long, and on the other side of it, I'll hit open beach.
Just carrying your board, just walking through.
Yeah, and like I didn't realize because I've been to Stinson a million times, but like you only go so far north, and then there's like a guardhouse, and now you hit this like big private development. And I didn't realize it's like 30 miles long. I don't know how long it is. It's really long. And I must have walked for 2 miles just barefoot. Just like, fuck, at some point. And now I'm like mad. Like,
right.
Like there's got to be coastal access at some point. And like, fuck these people. Like, this is a coastal act violation. You can't keep people from accessing the beach. Like, this is insane. And like, they're like every like fifth house, and these are like ludicrously nice houses. Not a car in any driveway, because they're all like vacation homes for fucking Twitter gods or whatever. And like every fifth house is like under construction, and I was like, okay, there's nobody here. I could like slip through the gate and like slip through, and I'm like almost trespassing, and like the security trucks keep driving back and forth, eyeballing me, like, who's this guy with the surfboard? And finally, and I just get like stubborn about it, and I'm like walking and I'm walking so far, and I'm like, well, I'm committed now. I'm not turning back now. Like, I'm finding that I'm gonna get to the beach. I'll just like walk the sand back. And at one point, I'm like, I can't anymore. And like, this is a huge sand spit. So on one side there's open ocean, the other side is like a lagoon. Mm-hmm. So I slipped next to some house through a little gap in a fence and like jumped into the lagoon and just paddled all the way back. The distance I'd walked.
You got a workout in. There you go.
Yeah, it was actually really pleasant. Like, the water was super clear, and I was like, oh, this is kind of neat. And like, I didn't realize any of that's there. You don't really see it from the road.
Yeah.
But I was so mad the whole time. Like, who the fuck do these people think they are? Like, why wouldn't you have at least a little gap every few feet for even yourselves to go to the beach? Like,
yeah, it's a little weird.
It's insane. And
well, if they're vacation homes by rich people, they're not going out there to go to the beach. They're just going to go sit in their house, probably.
I guess it's like all their backyards open onto the beach, so I guess they just go in and out that way.
Yeah, right.
But still, I'm like, surely there's going to be some sort of little walkway, but no, there never was. Anyway, that's what I did this weekend.
All right. Well, what is Justin doing this weekend, and what did Justin do this past weekend? America's Favorites podcast segment is presented by Long Weekend Coffee. With 4 varieties of beans, Long Weekend is the perfect coffee for all of your adventures, not just on the weekend. Head to longweekend.coffee, shop around, enter code ROCK10 at checkout, and get 10% off your first order. Long Weekend Coffee, more weekend, please. Our first story today is from a press release on Outdoor Sports Wire last week, which detailed gear maker NEMO's Endless Promise being named one of 2023's greatest innovations by Popular Science. The Endless Promise represents NEMO's commitment to reduce resource consumption and keep gear out of the landfill. All Endless Promise products are painstakingly designed to be repairable, resellable, and most importantly, 100% recyclable. I'm quoting right there from the press release. In 2024, NEMO's Endless Promise collection will expand to include 3 responsible, down-standard certified sleeping bags and a new line. This is kind of the big part of this, I think, the new line of technical and commuter backpacks. So I want to bring this up specifically because until now, the only brand making outdoor stuff that I've heard consistently talk about doing any sort of circularity is Houdini. You know, every brand and outdoor brand tries to kind of check that sustainability box. Mm-hmm. But even the best don't offer a real path for how to keep their stuff out of a landfill. I mean, even the best, like Patagonia, doesn't have a lot of circular stuff that they claim. Once that item's no longer useful. So seeing a program like this from NEMO, you know, and goals of circularity from Houdini, it just kind of makes me hopeful that the pressure will mount on other outdoor brands to do the same. And then the other piece of it being recognized by Popular Science.
Yeah,
so this isn't just like a brand celebrating itself. So
yeah, they must have.
What do you think about this?
I think it's awesome. Well, NEMO stuff is really good anyway, so I'm glad it's from a brand that I really like. But I think it's awesome. Whether or not, I mean, they would know more than me. Like, whether or not there's like a commercial path forward here is the interesting question. Like, I don't know if something like this is meant to serve almost as like a loss leader, where you just begin to associate NEMO with this kind of thing, and like therefore they probably have pretty good approaches toward everything else they make. Like, I could imagine that being part of it. And you would know more than me about this. I just don't see why everything isn't like that. Like, why isn't everything made that way? And maybe it will. Maybe like, I don't know if it is so much that it's never made sense to do it, and brands would like to make backpacks you can like pull apart and like put back together or recycle them or whatever, and they didn't have the technology, or I suspect it's mostly that like it just doesn't really occur to people, you know, like, why would you do that? Like, you want to sell them more backpacks, you know, like, so it would be awesome if this kind of thing just became the norm. And maybe that's the idea, but like, I would
hope so. I think it should become the norm. I think the problem right now is there's a lack of motivation because it's going to require infrastructure and investment to make this a regular thing. To be able to, right now, you can't just take your backpack and recycle it. You know, you can break it down. There's ways to sort of reuse certain parts of it, or, you know, there are processes that exist to take any sort of polyester and kind of repurpose it, but it's nothing. It's not just a regular thing that most brands can just do, or most textile makers can do. So this technology is kind of being invented as we speak, and as such, That's hard. That costs a lot of money. And then it also, you don't have a return on that. Is it going to cost more for them to make it? Is it more costly to the consumer? So I kind of look at it as like, until we get the thing on most sustainability issues, until there's some sort of regulation that says you have to be able to do this or you can't sell this here, it's not going to change on scale.
Yeah.
And that's why I think seeing NEMO and Houdini do these things is impressive, because they're taking it on. They're saying that, hey, this is important. We make too much stuff, and we're going to do our part to make sure that stuff doesn't end up in a landfill. The challenge, though, and as I know some folks, right, on the brand side of things, and so I sent a few emails around, kind of asking about this, and I got some responses that the program is and the potential is legit. And the plan, the big thing is kind of the plan to expand into the backpack category. Not a big thing in terms of like the program itself, but in terms of the risk that NEMO's taking, because they're now entering a category they have not been in before. And you and I have talked about this a lot, like entering in a new category is tough.
I guess there's a lot that could go wrong there, but like I don't feel like that's going to be an issue. It's one thing when a brand is like, we want to make bike clothes, even though we've never done that before. It's like, well,
right.
why? But like NEMO, I do kind of get it, because like I really do like all their stuff. Like more than, I think actually, honestly, I think more than any brand out there. I Sea to Summit is the other one where I don't care what it is. If it's NEMO, I know it's going to be great. Like it doesn't matter what it. I'm not going to have to try it first. I'm not going to wonder about it. Like I've had some tents from like Mountain Hardware that were awful. For example, like big, like core brands who you're like, whatever they make is going to be good. For the most part, it is. But like I've had some missteps from some big brands. REI is the same way. I've had some big missteps from some of their stuff they make. Never with NEMO. And so like I feel like I would trust them to do that. They could come out. I mean, if they came out with a surfboard, I'd be like, "Well, come on." But like this, sure. I mean, I'm sure they can make a backpack. They'll just poach somebody from North Face anyway, or whatever, to run their line.
I think you're spot on. I think they're almost like the exception that proves the rule, because my thing, what do I always say? Like, well, just because you're a footwear maker doesn't mean you should enter an adjacent footwear category. It's hard. This is one where now NEMO's so well regarded in the kind of camping and technical equipment space, and we're talking about backpacks, not necessarily like another rain jacket, that I think it's there. I mean, people respect it enough that they'll give it a shot. People who are in the know will understand. And I think the opportunity is there for them to kind of seamlessly expand into this. And they have an incredible sustainability story that no one else is telling. But they also aren't huge marketers. You almost always see stuff for NEMO coming out of press release. I don't see them show up in places either, which I'm not saying that that's a necessity. But it's like,
they've made their calculation, like, and they have obviously done well by it. I mean, like, I think if you're a brand that can get by almost entirely on word of mouth, then you're golden, So I get, like, the only thing I wonder about when I hear about these kinds of initiatives, or I guess there aren't that many, so this one in particular, is like, I know that, at least I'm pretty sure that you have to take it back, you have to like mail it back to NEMO, or take it to, I don't think they have like a retailer. Like you can't just like, you have to, they have to handle it.
There is a step that you have to take to
and like
get it
that
back
kind of, like I've seen that, like people have tried to do this in surf for a lot of different ways, in a lot of different, like with wetsuits, with old surfboards, and like it's actually pretty easy to take a surfboard and to like strip the glass off. Not easy, but like, especially a big board. You can take that board, you can strip the glass off. The foam blank underneath is fine. And then you just like cut it out, reshape it, do whatever you want. Like you can totally do that. But it's never taken off, because it's just a step. I don't want to have to go to the surf shop with this board to drop it. I'd rather just put it in the garbage or whatever, like if I break a board, or same thing with a wetsuit. Like it's just easier to just leave it in my, like, so I think with this one in particular, also Houdini says the same thing. Like when it reaches its end of life, right, then you send it back and they deal with it. But like, what does that mean? Like that really means you're bored. I mean, I've never in my life had a backpack that I couldn't use anymore because it was just too used. And I know people have. I'm aware that that's a thing. I've never had that happen. Now, granted, I have a million backpacks. If I only had one, it'd probably be different. But like that, I find it hard to imagine that at some point, unless I poke a hole in it, my backpack's not going to work anymore. So like you're going to send it back when you're bored. So like that's probably, which is fine. But like, I don't know. Like, are we? Is there a net positive here, or is it going to be people like, I've had this backpack for 2 years, now I want a green one?
I think all these things are on the table. The brand's relying on the consumer to do the right thing and send it back. Now, I mean, you could also say like, well, how many of these will actually get repurposed, because if they're so well made, and then if you, instead of sending it back, do you give it to somebody else or you donate it, and eventually. But even then, you still are relying on someone to send it back in order to break it down and do it. And that's why it's still going to come down to something's going to have to be regulated, or there needs to be some mass shift or agreement by all of these brands that we're going to do it this way now. Because I don't know. I mean, just like,
otherwise,
even if you are well intended,
it's 9 or 10 people doing it. Otherwise, I mean, and that's
what I mean.
Yeah, and like. But again, I do think that everything should be like this. I think this is how all of your products, for the most part, should be. But I can't imagine that very many people actually would agree with that. You know, like people want to buy.
It comes down to money, right? I mean, it's like if REI, it's easy to say something like, "Well, hey, REI, you step up and be the receptacle for all these things, you know, and be like the point of interaction, right? Because you're a national chain and you care and whatever." But it's like, okay, what are you asking REI to do in that regard? You're asking them to staff, you know, ship stuff, collect stuff. You know, you're not always just going to get the best product back. You're going to get stuff you can't use. I mean, look, I do it right now. Like, if let's say I Instacart or I go to a grocery store and I end up with plastic bags, I forgot to bring my bags. And I've got a cabinet full of these plastic bags. Well, you can take them back to the grocery store and put them in the bin because I can't recycle them in my own recycling bin. Right. So sometimes I do that. Sometimes, you know, I tend to make sure they're clean, but I tend to also to kind of put them all in a ball and stuff them in there. I don't know if that's the right way to do that, you know, and I'm trying to like just not throw these things away. More people will probably be like, I'm done with this. I'm going to throw it away. So there is the infrastructure question like carries on beyond it. But I guess the thing to praise them here is that except for Houdini, who else is even talking about even trying? And I guess that's kind of the sad part.
I mean, I'm super stoked Nemo's doing this again. Yeah. I mean, fucking great. Do it. Also, there's also part of me that's like, I don't think it's like this can't possibly make any kind of actual difference. I mean, like, how many bags are they going to sell? So, like, well, right. That's great. You should do that. We should all do what we can do. That's great. But like, I wonder if is there something that's more impactful? Like, I don't know that it's Nemo. I guess what I'm getting, I don't know that it's like Nemo's responsibility. Good on you for doing it. That's great. Yeah. But like, I don't feel bad if you don't, because it's not like, that's not your role. You know, like there are actual movers and shakers who are in charge of things that will benefit people's lives in terms of climate change and landfill use and plastics in our water. And they aren't brands. It's not brands, you know, like it's politicians, and it's like us making decisions about who we're going to support and what like, well, really just that, you know? So it's like, yeah, great. Buy recyclable stuff. You totally should. That's awesome. It's also, I can't fathom that possibly making any difference whatsoever. So like, also vote for people that will like make sure that like, you know, carbon emissions are halted and all that sort of shit.
Ultimately, that's the most important thing, I think, because it's easy to kind of just pick on outdoor brands. But honestly, if you know who really needs these programs are like, you know, the Sheins and the people who are making their stuff and selling them at Kohl's, you know.
So like that, so like,
the big outdoor brands, but this stuff's going to at least last. I mean, it will last a long time. It's still well constructed. Even the more middling outdoor brands have a little level of competency that you're not going to get at some of these bigger box stuff.
No, of course not. So yeah, so it's like, I mean, again, all power to you. That's awesome. But like, it's not, if they didn't do it, I don't think it would be like, it wouldn't really matter, I guess.
No, that's why I think it's the someone stepping forward and saying we're making a circular product. Same as like Houdini, like, you know, credit where credit's due. But you're right. It's, you know, in Houdini, in the grand scale of things, next to a North Face or Columbia, what do they make? Like a quarter of the amount of stuff those brands make?
I bet.
Right? I mean, I don't know.
A tenth. It's probably, it's probably
right.
It's probably a fifth. Well, wait, it's bigger. You know what I mean?
Probably right.
A 20th. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to keep going smaller?
Yeah. I don't know how. It's been a long time since I've taken a math class. Like 1/5 seems like it should be smaller than 1/10 because 5 is a smaller number. You see what I'm saying here? Math is not intuitive. Fractions are not intuitive.
Well, hey, the next story we have comes from Ski Magazine that reported that Mount Shasta Ski Park, which is a 635-acre ski area located in Northern California at the foot of the iconic 14er, shared plans to build a 20-foot-high statue of the Virgin Mary at the top of Douglas Butte, which is one of the resort's 4 lift-served summits. Okay. According to a statement that they shared on a December 10th Instagram post, the statue has been a passion project of the Merlots, which apparently are the ski park's owners. Ray Merlot died in 2020, and his wife Robin decided to move ahead with this plan in his honor. They've said that the statue isn't meant to promote any one religion, but rather the honor and beauty and spiritual power of the mountain we all love so much. I guess the mountain itself doesn't do that. As you would expect, you know, that there's been substantial pushback on the plan, many calling for something more representative and inspirational to all, and some suggesting that if something like this was to be built, it should pay homage to the indigenous tribes that existed in the area before Europeans arrived on the scene. I don't know. What do you think about this?
Do they own this piece of property?
I guess so.
Fucking build it. I don't care.
Oh, come on. I mean,
No,
like,
I don't give
it's
a shit. They own it.
It's a ski
So?
park. I don't know. I think this is just human beings being dumb. There's not
Why?
like one person behind the scenes who like tried to throw up a roadblock.
Why?
I
don't. I'm an atheist. I think these stories are hilarious. I mean, the Virgin Mary and Jesus and all this sort of things. But like, so what? They own it.
I'm not offended if people want to build something on their property. Go ahead. But it's just like, what are you, it's clearly a money-making enterprise. You're trying to get people to come ski at your ski park on Mount Shasta. Why would you like want to just alienate the people who would hate it?
I mean, sure. I mean, yeah, that's fine. There's a cold calculation to be made that like, sure, this might piss people off. We probably shouldn't do it. Sure. But like, come fucking on. Are you not going to go ski there? Cause there's a 20, it's not even, if it was 200 feet, sure. It's a 20-foot statue?
Actually, I'd be more likely to go if it was 200 feet. I'd go check it out.
Well, right. Like, people love that fucking Jesus statue in Brazil.
Yeah.
It's like, what, I'm not going to Rio because Christ is above me, like, gesticulating. Like, who gives a shit? People are so fucking have their panties in their bunch about I don't even think you're supposed to say that. People get so offended by things. It's insane. I mean, come on.
I get my panties in a bunch.
I probably shouldn't even say this, but like, I just don't like, the Merlots, they're obviously not fucking indigenous. So like if they start to throw up some kind of indigenous statue, like that's the most pandering bullshit in the fucking world.
They get crucified for that too.
No, I don't even think they would. I think people would be like, oh, that's great. It's like, they don't know jack shit. Like that's to me more offensive. Like that's actually legitimately offensive. Like at least they're probably Christians. Like have the statue. Who cares?
I think there's only one road to this, and it's you don't do anything.
Well, honestly, I don't want to live in that world. That's the problem. It's like I don't want to live in a world where I can't put up a statue of something or whatever, or it doesn't have to be a statue. I wouldn't do that. But like, I don't want to live in a world where nobody can put up anything or wear anything or say anything because like someone's not going to come to their business because they believe something different. I mean, that sounds awful.
It is awful, but it's also the reality, right? I mean, because and I think this is...
it's not reality.
Of course it's reality.
It's like this weird blip in like the cultural like thing now. Like I was just watching this new, very good, I don't know why we need another one, but this new documentary about World War II on Netflix. There's
we haven't had too many of
400 different versions of this where it's like, now it's colorized. Okay, great. So is the other one that was, but whatever. But like this one has a lot of insanely cool footage. And I don't mean that because I want to be a Nazi. I just mean like this really neat footage I've never seen before of like Nazi rallies and iconography and all this sort of stuff. And you're like, like in ways I hadn't quite really grasped like fascism before. I'm like, oh, the whole idea is that like all these people are basically the same person. Like all of Hitler's speeches are like, we're one body, we're one person, we're one Germany. It's like, okay, the idea, and I see why this is comforting to some people. You can just sort of assume everybody here has the same viewpoint about everything. Right. That's like the whole point, right? Like if we don't want anyone who looks different, who sounds different, who does anything different, if you do any of those things, we're going to kill you. We're going to ostracize you and or kill you. To me, that's kind of what is going on if you can't ever put a fucking statue up of something. It's like at a certain point we want to make sure that everybody here has the same opinion, which is essentially no opinion. Because we can't handle it anymore. We can't handle having different opinions about things. For some reason, we've just come to the point where I can't go skiing and see a statue without apparently grumbling about what? Judeo-Christian ethics? Like what's the problem here?
No, it's a good point. And if that thing had been...
Am I supposed to believe that if they put up some eagle statue because I don't know what tribe would have been in Shasta.
There's like apparently 4 or 5 different that were in the area.
Yeah. So I don't whatever their like main things that they love to like worship, like am I to believe that like the Merlots or like that anybody there practices that religion? No. Like it doesn't fucking matter. Like that would be disingenuous. Like just put up the fucking statue.
Well, it's not that they're going to. I think the thing that definitely bringing me around your point of view is that if this was like 1987 and they had built a statue,
nobody would have even thought about it.
Right.
I mean, I don't love that there's American flags everywhere for lots of reasons. You know, like I don't think you should be super nationalist and stuff. I'm not going to not go to your ski resort because there's an American flag. I'm not going to write my fucking congressperson about how this shouldn't be there. Like that's way more offensive in a lot of ways than a Virgin Mary statue. Like.
Yeah, no,
I saw a kernel about this in the news, and I didn't really read it because I knew it would make me mad. And now I understand why.
I'm glad I could be here for you, buddy.
I could not be more atheist, by the way. Like I could not possibly be more. I just don't. I cannot. somebody would have to grab me by the shirt and be like, look at that statue. And I'd be like, oh yeah. And I'd be like, don't you realize what this means? I'm like, what? Like somebody would have to like really explain it to me before I even dawned on me that somebody would be like bothered by it.
It's funny the way you're pointing this out because my immediate response wasn't, would I be offended by the statue or what would I build? It was, what are you doing? Like, why are you bringing this upon yourself? You know what I mean? Like, that was just like it's just a dumb move. Just don't do it. You know, like, I'm sorry your husband died and you want to honor the thing that he idea.
Like, that's actually really nice. You know, like, that's a nice thing to do. No,
I think it's great. And you're absolutely right. And ultimately, you know, if this ends up putting the park out of business or whatever, it won't because it's a ski park on Mount Shasta. You don't even ski. I could probably talk you into go into a ski day on there. How cool would that be? Let's go skiing, like, you know, with Mount Shasta as our background.
It is cool.
It's an really interesting point. Like, who cares?
And also, like, did you suggest that they put up some indigenous statue of something? Or
that's what people were saying. That's what the people commenting on it are saying.
So we're gonna be like, look, this mythical figure that we all agree isn't real.
Yeah.
No, we can't have that. This other mythical figure.
Yeah.
That's fine. We can have that because we feel guilty about some history or something. That's what we're doing here? That's what these people are suggesting?
The ski park has said that they're honoring the beauty. This is a quote from the article about honoring the beauty and the spiritual power of the mountain we all love so much. And I think that the response is like, well, if you want to do that, why wouldn't you honor the indigenous folks who were here before you, kind of thing.
I see.
Ultimately, your point of view is correct. If you're going to do it, just do it. Don't put up some namby-pamby, Instagram post about trying to like kind of get away with it. Like, hey, we're going to do this. Isn't it great? Because you should know that not everyone's going to think this is great. And you also shouldn't announce it. You just, yep, we build it. Yep, there it is. Yeah. We'll plaque on it. We're honoring Ray. Ray was a great guy. Always wanted to do this.
I mean, if you want to argue, if you want to make an argument that like that shouldn't be a private piece of land and that it should be nationalized or something because it's on presumably surrounded by public lands and it's just like I'm down to have that argument and I would probably side with you. And therefore, yeah, now it's a state thing. You can't have religious stuff. Great, but they own it. Sorry, if you don't like it, buy it. You don't like it, buy it from them. You should be okay with seeing things that you don't love to see. Like that should be, you should, 100%. You know what I don't love? Most Fords, and I'm fine. Like going to except for the Maverick. But like, I don't want to see your F-150 at the lot. Sorry, I don't want to go to the Mount Shasta ski lot and see 400 giant full-size trucks. Probably chained up because the people that drive them are too scared, like don't know what the fuck they're doing. That is offensive, deeply, and there's a reason behind the like that being offensive. A statue of a thing that it's so innocuous. It's the Virgin Mary. Fine.
All right. Well, that's all I got. Anything you have going on?
I mean, I don't know. No, not really. I haven't been paying attention to the outdoor news, but you know what? I have been for whatever reason. I've been. We just did a big gear. First of all, we just did a big gear guide thing for Adventure Journal, which has kind of got me I'd been really tired of talking about gear and dealing with gear, but it kind of really rejuvenated me because it's okay to think this stuff is cool. Like I get that we probably shouldn't buy so much crap, and I get that capitalism is bad, and I get that landfills are filling up. All these things. Believe me, I'm a bleeding heart liberal. I know what's up. But this shit is cool. There's some really neat stuff being made out there, and I kind of more appreciative of cool camping gear lately. So, reason to bring that up
could be okay. I think we're just fucking it up.
Well, yeah, I actually am not really anti-capitalist to a certain degree. Just the things that are bad about it are bad. I don't want to have to go to work either. I get all that, but but I have some bogs from last winter, and it's it brings me such joy to bring them out because I'm here's it's raining, they work great. I can walk through anything, and I love it. And you mentioned my Jack Wolfskin rain jacket I was wearing when we started. That's the best rain jacket I've ever had. And I really enjoy putting nice stuff on and being I know this rain jacket works really good. There's no seams. It's really comfortable. It's weird. I don't know. I'm rejuvenated about good outdoor gear because there's a lot of it. And this is such a golden age of really good outdoor stuff. And everything, well, there's a lot of stuff, but everything is good. Almost everything works really, really good. So I'm excited about winter and getting to test out some new stuff. We're going to go to Yosemite the day after Christmas like we always do, and it'll be like snowy up high and like rainy in the valley probably. So I'm gonna have all kinds of like rad new snowshoes and stuff to test out, and I'm fired up about it.
All right, well, please follow or subscribe to The Rock Fight wherever you're getting your podcast. And if you want your Rock Fight to be heard, send an email to myrockfight@gmail.com or find the show on TikTok, Threads, or Instagram at _rockfight_. Rock Fight's a production of Rock Fight LLC. For Justin Housman, I'm Colin True, and here to take us out and make all of your holiday dreams come true, it's Krista Makes with the Rock Fight Fight Song. We'll see you next time.